So what's going on, guys? Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there in the YouTube garage and on the YouTubes. Hope all you dads had a great day today and got to spend some time with your kids. I got to spend the day with my girls today. It's pretty fun. And they cooked me dinner, so that's always fun. Had Thanksgiving dinner for Father's Day. So we got headed off for 1600. We just did a little valve job there. See the seats now all nice and clean and cut. Intake and exhaust. This little 1600 took a little different direction. I haven't been making any videos lately, but I did have somebody ponder a question to me, so I entertained it. We took these heads and probably did about 10 hours worth of port work in there. You can't really tell, you know. But I did the exhaust ports, did the intake ports, did the combustion chambers, and we'll take those down and cut them for some double springs. We're gonna put some double springs on this one, and we're gonna see if we can make a hot rod 1600, I guess. A couple guys wanted to see how much power we could squeeze out of one, so we're gonna do that. I guess we'll split this case back open next week, and I got a 120 cam. It's not a real elaborate cam, but it's a Engel 120, and we'll put that Engel 120 in there and put some 48 IDAs on it with those ported heads, and we'll get us a good exhaust system, a merged exhaust, not like the one that's on the car, and see what we can come up with for power. Cat's going crazy in here. So we're going to cut ahead real quick. Somebody wanted to see this process, and I don't know if this is how you do it. That's how I do it. Usually I have a vise, but this bench works real well for this. I've used it a lot in the past. So I think you can see there. Try to get you in on the action here. We're going to do a 3-angle valve job on these also, performance valve job. Normal valve job would consist of one angle, a 45 or a 30, whatever you wanted to put on there. Usually I go with a 45. Sometimes you can gain a little performance depending on the size of the cam. If you go from a 45 to a 30 or a 35, depending on the lift of the cam you're going to use. This is going to be in the 470 under 500 range. So we're just going to do a multiple angle valve job on this. And, we'll go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is put a pilot in. So it's the pilot in my hand. We'll go ahead and do the exhaust first, because I was set up on the last head with the exhaust last. This pilot just loosens up and goes down in the guide, and you just tighten it up. Well, there we go. It's camera shy. There we go. Alright, first thing we're going to do is cut a 60. And that's to, what we're trying to do is get multiple steps into the port, so the gases flow out a little better. A little bit of increase on the angles, believe it or not, does increase the flow quite a bit. A good valve job can be quite a bit on the performance. On a Volkswagen, it can be anywhere from 5 to 10 horsepower, you know, depending on what type of valve job you do. If you do a standard valve job, and you can make the car run just fine. But the performance angle on it is the multiple angles coming in the combustion chamber and going into the intake port. So we got 2 ports here that flow opposite of each other, which is pretty interesting. A lot of people don't always think of the ports like that. You know, your intake's drawing air in and your exhaust is getting it out. So let's do the 60. Okay. 60's just opening the bottom of the seat up. Basically what we're doing is forming like a funnel effect basically. Now we're going to do a 30, 35, and then we'll go to a 45 for our final seat. Okay. It's our 35. Now we're going to finish off with the 45. So a lot of it's, you know, having the equipment to do this. It's not that it's rocket science. And if you have a new way cutter or a 30 or something like that, more power to you. They do make cutters to do this now rather than stones. This is the old school way. That's what I can afford, you know. So that one's done. Go on to this one. So my son's in New Orleans, and apparently he was in a go-kart accident today. Got pretty banged up. Got some pictures, that's all I got. I got to talk to him on the phone. Sounded a little shaken up, but I think he'll be okay. I'm sure if he's not, his aunt will get him some medical attention. But he's out there in New Orleans. And when he goes out there, he has a Rotac race cart that he races. Him and his uncle are into the exotic motorsports. They have, I think they have a Ferrari, a Porsche, and a GTR Nissan. And Hans drives those when he's out there. And I knew he was going to be driving the cars this time, but I didn't know he was going to the go-kart track. And apparently somebody ran over him. He was going slower in the corner than they were, and they drove over the top of him. So he got pretty banged up, shoulder, arm, and hopefully he'll heal up okay. I told him that's how it all started for me. You know, being crazy when you're young. That's our 45. If you get a spring to put under here, it works much better. I don't know what happened to my little springy. Used to have a spring that would go there, and it pulls that 45 off the seat real quick. You just want to touch the 45 and not spend a lot of time on those. You know, you want to get the seat as thin as possible. We are going to drive this on the street, so we got to have some dependability as far as the valve job goes. So we'll make the seat a little bit wider. I'm going to do the intakes. We'll have to switch our stones over here. So yeah, I hope everybody's having a great Father's Day. I lost my father last year, my stepdad. My real father's still alive, but he doesn't talk to me. He's in St. Petersburg. It's funny thing about my father, you know, when you're a kid, doesn't matter how good your stepfather is to you, the first thing you want to do is find your real dad. And you never really know what the story is between your mom and your dad, you know, when they get divorced when you're young. I was 2 when my dad left, and didn't meet my stepdad till I was 13 years old. But I came into a little bit of money, and the first thing that I wanted to do was find my dad, because I thought about it all the time. And my stepbrother ended up killing himself about the same time I came into the money, my brother Mark. And I was at his funeral, and my stepbrother Robbie is a deputy in Melbourne, and I was talking to his partner, telling her about finding my dad and stuff, and I was going to hire a private investigator, and she told me that she would find him for me, not to spend the money. I don't know if she knew what the outcome would be or what, but nevertheless I found him within a couple days. She found him and got me a phone number, and I was really surprised that he lived so close. And I tried to call him and talk to him, and it just didn't work out very good. You know, he wasn't very interested. So I never really knew my real dad, but I did know my stepdad. He was a good guy. I sort of miss him. It's the first Father's Day without him. Used to always call him and let him know that to have a good Father's Day. So. That's our 35. I'm going to come back with a 45. 45 here. So if you're close with your dad and you have a good relationship with him, that's a great thing, man. Doesn't cost anything to be good to your kids. Alrighty. Move on to the last intake. The intakes always seem to go a little easier. The seats aren't as hard, so they cut much quicker and stuff like that. So again, we're going to do the 60 cut. I'll do a 60 here, 35, and a 45. Yeah, I've been watching some videos. I haven't been commenting a lot, you know. Go figure. I saw Big J. Really sorry about what happened to your garage, buddy. I saw where you sent me an email over to watch that video, and I'd already seen it. I'm really sorry about that, man. I'm glad you didn't get hurt. You know, it could have been much worse if you'd been working on your bike. And you know, the bike can be fixed. If you're not the bodywork type of guy and you can't find anybody to fix your bike for you and you want me to paint it for you, I'd be glad to do that for you. You'd have to send it to me, of course. But hopefully the insurance company will take care of you and can make you whole. But the important thing is that you didn't get hurt. So if you guys all check Big J's channel out, he had his Harley. He's been working on making videos for us. He was got his Father's Day present. He was working on the bike and went inside to let his meat loaf, as he said. And his 96-year-old neighbor drove through his garage. And you know, damaged his bike pretty bad. He's pretty fond of that Harley. Most of you Harley guys like your motorcycles, you know. So hopefully Jay will get that straightened out. This seat's got a big spot in it. That's not good, Hopefully we don't have to replace this one. So, try to get it out. Sometimes you got to put a seat in them. There we go. Alright, man, I think that's it for a 3-angle valve job on our 1600 build. So I guess we'll be splitting that case again. I'm gonna have to buy a set of lifters. And there we go. So there's our seats all cut. I want to say thanks to Anthony, HO Motorsports. Sent me some sealer over. And I appreciate that. I saw where little guy was driving the AMC today. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And then I got one more little thing to add to this video. I know my buddy Gino over at Gino's VW watches my videos every once in a while. And I think Gino had some trouble with one of his motors. Coming right back, guys. 1 minute, looking for the blower here. I need the blower. See how organized I am? Oh, I don't see the blower here. I gotta have an air chuck. But anyway. Alright. Here it is in my pocket. Anyway, they're having a little problems with their bearings, their rear bearing, seizing up on them. I've run into this before, since they changed the composition of what they make these bearings out of. It's probably not a builder's error, it's probably more of a material issue. Now, if you go over to Gene's site, I always like to refer to Gene Berg's website like he's still alive, because he left us a lot of great stuff to learn about. But anyway, you can still go over there and research some of this stuff. The topic was end play and what to set it at. I will tell you, I showed you a couple different wristband keepers over here on my bench. We have 3 different types here. We have the C-clip, which I call these the C-clip. We have the snap ring type, and then we have Teflon button. I don't like to use the buttons because the cylinders really aren't strong enough. It can groove the cylinder, and if you're going to use these buttons, you need to clearance the pin so the button doesn't, it has room between the cylinder and the pin. You know, you want to make sure you shorten your pin so this can move and not be lodged against the cylinder wall. You know, end play is it's a funny thing. I learned the hard way. I bought a Gene Berg engine kit when I was about 19 years old, 20 maybe. I saved up 3 years for it. Worked at Scooters, bars, parts, and I believe the Gene Berg kit came with this type of clip. The actual snap ring type. You can see this snap ring here. I don't know if you can see, it's sort of shiny. See, the edges are shiny. It's been beaten. It's been beaten trying to come out of that piston, okay? And what causes these to come loose is excessive end play. So Gene Berg figured this out back in the 80s, and he wrote an article on it. And back then we were tightening the end play as low as 2 to 4 thousandths on our race motors. But there are some things that you have to do if you're going to do this. I usually set mine anywhere between 6 and 5. I try to stay off the 4, you know, unless it's an all-out motor, because I have had failure, you know. I will tell you, I think it's the bearing more than anything. But if you read the Berg article, this is an old bearing for demonstration purposes. You see these little grooves right here in the back are for oiling the shim pack. You need to come back here and make these a little bigger. So you just want to groove the bearing a little bit, just like such. So you get a little more oil, so you can get a little more oil to the shim pack. Okay, so you're just going to make the factory holes on the bearing a little bit larger. That will definitely help the shim burning up. Also, I like to do this side of the bearing too. This side of the bearing's not going to have any in it. You got to make your own. Put 3 of them on this side, so the bearing has plenty of lubrication. The crank can hit this side of the bearing, is why you want to make your oil grooves there, because it can burn the back of the crank counterweight up. But I wouldn't go with the 8 to 9. That's a little bit too much end play, and I think what's going to happen is you're going to have wrist pin keeper problems. So I have lost 1 motor right here in the parking lot. It's the only motor that I built that's ever blown up in 25 years. I built it for Gaydon, my buddy, with his off-road car, and I did everything like I always do. And I fired that thing up. It ran for about 15-20 minutes tops in the driveway and shut off, and seized up the rear bearing. I think I ended up throwing that case out after I found out that you can fix the case pretty easy. But clearance that back bearing a little bit for some extra oil back there, and try to stay around, you know, 5 on your end play, because I think what's going to happen is you're going to find out that you're going to have too much end play and you're going to start working these wrist pin keepers out of your wrist pins. Now if you're using the Teflon buttons, you won't have this problem. The problem that you'll have is the rod bending from getting in a bind in the cylinder. So try not to get too excessive on the end play there, buddy, and don't get discouraged. Shit happens to everybody. I think people just don't often share the experiences. So I know it was hard for me to lose that motor and have to call Scooter, you know. I had to call him up and say, hey, you know, I lost the motor, you know, what did I do wrong? And he thought I squashed the bearing, you know, but I didn't, you know, misaligned the dowel pin, but that wasn't the case. So it actually ripped the dowel pin out of the case, so when the bearing went, you know, it pulled it around about halfway. So it's happened to me too. I think it's the bearings. That's why I've been using the silver line bearing. I've been having a lot better luck with the material those are built out of. But you can notch the back of the bearing on both sides there. This side to give you a little clearance on the crank if you're going to pull it down tight. There's the crazy cat. All right, guys, so that's it on the video. I hope everybody has a great Father's Day. And hopefully soon I'll be able to get back to making videos. It's just been a rough couple weeks. So got another week to go, I guess, and we'll see what happens after next weekend, what's going on, how everybody's feeling, and hopefully we'll get back on the 1600 and stuff. Still haven't got any parts for my Cougar. I found one quarter panel in California, and apparently the guy has it for sale, but for local delivery only. And the only person I know in California is Jeremy, and he lived too far away. If you go box it up for me, that'd be a big job anyway to box the quarter panel. But as far as new panels, replacement panels, just not available for this car. I've called every resource that I've been given, and nobody has them. It's not a price thing. The used panel was $300, and I figured, you know, $300 or $400 to get here, that would have been great, because we just don't have anything on this side of the car to patch. You know, I come out here to try to make a patch for it, and I just get discouraged and walk away from it. So I think they did have a patch panel for the front section there and one for the back, so I'm gonna order that and then build off of it. That's all I can do. And that's about it. We'll do work on my bus a little bit this weekend, just a little bit, you know, do a little more sanding. So we're getting a little closer, a little bit. Got the door to go here, and some more body work. Did some more body work down at the bottom there. Still got rust falling out of this thing, but not too bad. So this is the worst. The front end, you know, got a little bit of rust up under there, but nothing too rough. So I'm gonna try to push and get this thing back together and running, done, out of here, so I can have a little more shop, you know. And this Cougar's a pretty big car, so I hate big cars because they take up too much room. I got a patch panel made for my turn signal lens there. I gotta trim that down, and I got a piece of metal here I gotta make for the bottom of that door. So we do have some pieces going, and I did spray some OSPO. I had some rust. This is the OSPO, turned sort of black. Now you can't just paint over this, guys, or primer over this and expect to have any kind of you know, long-lasting results. After it's turned black, you need to hit that with 80 grit again, clean the steel, and then etch prime, epoxy prime, and then 2K prime. Some of you guys keep putting epoxy over bare steel or just rolling the dice. So that's my 2 cents. Hope you guys have a great tomorrow, great week. Make the best out of it. Probably won't see you guys during the week, but I'll try to come make a video next week sometime for you.